First Minister, standing up for Scotland's pensioners is not clutching at straws. And isn't it telling that John Swinney has now twice been asked how many people in Scotland could die as a result of his policy, and he refuses to answer? It is in black and white that the SNP were considering this in May of this year. They repeatedly call for more powers, but when they're given the chance to act, they run in the opposite direction and blame Westminster. Surely the point of devolution is to make different choices, especially when lives are at risk.
I just find it very difficult to hear, as I'm sure others are too. Let's conduct ourselves in a courteous and respectful manner. Let's hear one another. Mr Ross.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I was saying surely the point of devolution is to make different choices, especially when lives are at risk. You can't oppose Labour cuts at Westminster and simply pass them on at Holyrood, all while pretending they are nothing you can do about it. Scotland is colder than the rest of the UK. Winter fuel payments must be an even greater priority here. The £160 million cost of these payments is just a fraction, 0.3% of the Scottish Government's £50 billion budget. Surely the SNP Government can find the money if it's important to them. So why is keeping pensioners warm this winter not a priority for John Swinney?
First Minister.
Douglas Ross raised the question, Presiding Officer, about the exercise of new powers. So when this government acquired new powers, we took decisions to, for example, ask people in higher earners to contribute more in taxation in Scotland. I think that was the right decision to make, because what that's enabled us to do is to fund the expansion of early learning and childcare, so that families across the country have got the best childcare offering in the whole of the United Kingdom. I am very proud that our government has put that in place. It's enabled us to spend over £400 million on ensuring that we deliver the Scottish Child Payment, which is contributing to, amongst other measures, keeping 100,000 children out of poverty. Now, there's the exercise of choices that we have made as a government, and I'm very proud of them. But the difficulty we face on the issue about winter fuel payments is that within this
hear the First Minister.
Within this financial year, our budget is being cut, at the same time as we are affording pay increases for public sector workers, nurses.
First Minister. I mean, quite frankly, members know that they are not conducting themselves in a courteous and respectful manner. Where there have been previous opportunities to put questions, I would ask members to focus and listen. First Minister.
So, at the same time as we've got a budget cut of £160 million about winter fuel payments, we are affording over £800 million of additional costs to meet the costs of pay bills, so that teachers and nurses and other members of the public services who are delivering vital services in our country. Why are you still shouting at me, Mr Hoy? You've got to listen to the presiding officer. You've got to listen to the presiding officer and stop behaving badly.
First Minister. I can assure the First Minister that I am wholly prepared to chair this meeting. I will not have any members shouting at one another. So let's start to conduct ourselves in an appropriate manner for this Parliament. First Minister.
So, Presiding Officer, within the financial year that we face, where we have an acute cut to our budget of the winter fuel payments, this government has been left with no choice. But what I will say to Douglas Ross is that I will take absolutely no lesson from Douglas Ross, who supported every act of financial vandalism of the last Conservative government, every act of austerity which is leading to suffering amongst pensioners and families in our country, and the Conservatives have got no lessons to teach us.